Hey everybody. So we're now going to learn about why we have night and day. Before we learn about that, we need to remember how the Earth, the Sun and the Moon all move around each other. Well, actually, the Sun doesn't move, so that's the first thing. So the Sun, it rotates, but it doesn't orbit. And it's the center of our solar system, and everything else orbits around it. Alright. Well, the second point which we should remember is that the Earth orbits around the Sun. So this blue circle here is tracing the Earth's orbit around the Sun. Remember, our orbit is almost circular. So the Earth orbits the Sun, and one full orbit takes 1 year. And that's actually how scientists came up with the length of time, which is a year. Because they figured out how long it takes the Earth to go around the Sun, and they said, alright, we're going to call that 1 year. So that means if you've lived on Earth for, how old would you be, 12 years, then that means you've orbited the Sun 12 times. And when it's your 14th birthday, that means you will have orbited the Earth 14 times. And I've orbited the Earth 31 times. Okay. Well, the other thing is, how does the Moon orbit? And remember that the Moon orbits around Earth. So the light grey path here is tracing an orbit around the Earth. And that's what the Moon is doing while the Earth is slowly orbiting the Sun. And the Moon's orbit doesn't take as long as the Earth's one does. And one orbit of the Moon only takes a month. Equals 1 month. And again, that's how we came up with the length of the months. Approximately. The months do change, but on average, the Moon goes around the Earth once every month. Okay. So once we know the orbits, then we can understand how night and day works. So this diagram's showing what happens. We've got the Sun on the left, and then we've got Earth over here, obviously. And we've got the axis of Earth's rotation, because remember the Earth is rotating around that point. And that means as the Earth rotates, only half of the Earth is going to be hit by light from the Sun. So the side of the Earth that's facing the Sun, it's going to be in daytime. And then on the other side, everyone who's living over this side of the Earth, they're in nighttime. But since the Earth is rotating, and it rotates once every day, once every 24 hours. Obviously, that's a whole day. So when the Earth rotates, then 12 hours later, then everyone who had night, they'll be facing the Sun now, so then they'll be in daytime. And the people on this side who were in the daytime, well, they will have rotated around to be facing away from the Sun, and then they'll have nighttime. So that is how night and day works. It just depends, are you facing the Sun or are you facing away from the Sun? And it changes as we know, every 24 hours. Here's an example of how that light changes. So we've actually got the Sun on the right here. It's millions of kilometers away, but we can't see it. And you can see the light is coming from the Sun and hitting the right side of the Earth here. And if we look at Australia, It's got Sydney marked on the map with a red dot. So when Sydney is around this side, it's nighttime. Now it's in daytime. Now it's back to night. Now it's morning, daytime, and then it goes back around the other side to nighttime. So the fact that the Earth is spinning is the reason why we have day and night. Because the Earth is rotating. One misconception that people have is that the moon is related to day and night. So be aware, this is a common misconception that people have, but it's not true. So the moon isn't related to day or night at all. And it definitely doesn't cause day or night to happen. So we always think that the moon comes out at night time. That can sometimes happen, but just as often the moon is out in the daytime. So here's two examples of the moon being out in the day. It doesn't have to be at night. So go out and have a look. Have a look today or tonight, see when the moon comes out. And if you follow it all through the month, you'll see that it can change between day and night quite regularly. Okay, so the way day and night works is all about the Earth rotating and nothing to do with the moon.